engaged about the ones out of public work, but my main concern is the transfer stations. There should be one that like looks right at the chute, and one that's gonna jet down onto the scale.
Like
Drive over. Just because we have a clerk down there now, we don't allow any of them to go beyond a certain point.
sure, everybody has their.
And we have cameras monitoring what the hell's going on, so there's no bullshit. Yeah,
Coverings going.
making progress.
That's good.
Progress.
For now. Put a knock on wood.
Hey Bob, give me a piece
Yeah.
of Kleenex, will you? Fine.
Yes. Let's call the meeting to order, please. I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Can I don't mean to be rude, I should have told you, but can we just have a moment of silence for the two women
Yes.
that passed away in Oxford due to
Yes.
recent storms? Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Totally over my head. Okay. Public comment? Name and address for the record, please.
Roxanne Stevens. I am the property owner and resident at 136 Washington Avenue. I have a two-family home and I abut the paper road of Birch Street. And I know that's under discussion about either selling it or giving it away, that you're no longer going to keep it on as a town road. Many years ago, my husband and I wanted to purchase that, but because there were sewer lines and two sewer cleanouts, we were told we couldn't purchase it. Our offer to purchase it is still valid, and if you can't sell it because of that, we would be interested in obtaining half of that with the other property owner that's brought it before the board. That's it. Okay? Thank you. Oh, yeah, and we would do obviously the easement for the sewer stuff. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Public comment going 3 times. No, thank you. Before we go into the meetings, I would like to, our emergency management director, Chris Edwards, is here. I would like Chris to come up and just give the board a brief synopsis of what has taken place the past 3 days. Name and address for the record, sir.
Chris Edwards, 63 Heritage, Emergency Management Director, Fire Chief Seymour. I just have a brief statement here just of what we went through in the last couple days, and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to go to bed. So currently the town is in good shape as far as roads. We currently have one closed road, that is State Road 313 on River Street. It's undermined. It is closed indefinitely. Route 67 is now open both directions throughout the town of Seymour. Claridge's Village was our ground zero for this weather event that came out of nowhere. This was not forecasted. This was forecasted for a 1, maybe 2 inch rainstorm. Didn't happen, as we all know. So currently, right now, there are 14 businesses out of business right now in Claridge's Village. We don't have any idea of timeline of getting them back in. Most of them are a total loss. That goes from, if you're looking at the plaza, from Ocean State all around to Woodside Package Store. We were there all day today, myself and the first select woman, doing what we can. I was there handing out the state paperwork, the FEMA paperwork. We're waiting for FEMA to do a declaration like the state did. Once that goes in effect, we will get everything going and try to help these people out the best we can on our side. We did have some significant damage to a dam in town. Some of you guys might know where Mill Street is. It's basically a paper road that we own between John Allen's and the old wire company. It's an access road with sewer pipes going through it, and there's two old mills that used to be a power generation plant for the wires company. Wire Mill Dam number 2, that's what it's officially called, has a breach through the side of it, minor breach. So we spent most of the day up there with state inspectors from the dam department of Deep, along with the first select woman, Kurt Miller, town engineer, and some dam engineers that were recommended by the state. So it is an immediate, needs to be fixed immediately. So we met today. We have our plan. We're just working out some details. I don't have all the details, so I don't want to go into it and tell you something wrong. So we'll have more information on that tomorrow. We can email out. I will have a full report once we get all our information. I could come back next month, give you a full report on all the damages that occurred. We do have damage to one town road. That's Old Drive, where Old Drive comes off of 67 and meets Rimmon. It undermined the sidewalks, so the sidewalks floated away in about 12-foot sections. Public Works has since put those back just to cover the holes. We lost the guardrail and it undermined part of the road. The road is open but coned off where the dangerous part is. And we'll be submitting all the paperwork and working with Brian Steriak to get that all set. To jump on the fire department, within a 24-hour period, they handled 60 calls for service. Multiple car rescues out of floods, homes. We had one life-saving grab in Oxford out of the Lake River, Housatonic River. Along with Oxford, we handled roughly 10 calls covering this side of 67 in Oxford because, as we know, they were hit a little bit harder than we were, and they lost bridges and couldn't get to it. So we covered for them as well. Tomorrow I'm slated to do a quick assessment on Derby Ave on the riverbank side, and then go up to the Stop and Shop side and then kind of work my way out. We had one call for service on Derby Avenue that was taken care of. That person was removed and went with a family member. We did have minor flooding with the Amazon truck stuck under the bridge on Derby Avenue. He was removed, given back to his company, and once the water receded, they came and got their truck. All in all, we're never prepared for something like that. It's an act of God, right? Nature. But I got to give the emergency services in this town my applause. They were ready. They went out. I gave them a plan, and they did it. To get 60 calls done in a volunteer fire service, unbelievable. Seymour Ambulance was right there next to us. Sorry, I'm tired. Seymour Ambulance was right there next to us all night for the whole 24 hours. I think we went home finally around 3:30 in the morning, and we were back out at 6. Seymour PD, hats off. Anything I asked for, they were right there to do it. All in all, we're doing okay as a town. Townspeople came out, terrific. I mean, Anne Marie's going to fill you in on a lot of that stuff. But it's the best outcome we could have if you look around. So we are the most hit town in Region 2. So we all break up into regions. Region 5 starts in Oxford. We are the most hit and hardest in Region 2 is Seymour. I did do a walkthrough with State Demis rep today. They came through, they looked at everything, took her through Claridge's Plaza. And if anybody's around and they want a tour of it to see the damage, I'm around all day tomorrow. I'll be more than happy so you guys can put some eyes to the pictures, and please let me know. if there's any questions, I can take them, and I know Anne Marie has an update for you as well. No?
I'll just give a heartfelt thanks from all of us.
Yeah,
to
the
you
thanks
and
has
the
to go
entire
to the team. I mean, I can't, as a fire chief, I couldn't ask any more from my men and women. Anything that I asked them to do, they just did, with their own safety in mind. I mean, they're going into rapid waters, and to save a guy out of the Housatonic River along with Oxford is huge. We lost a couple boats and jet skis. They're down in Derby. But they were down there tying up docks for people, like stuff that's not even really in our job description. They just did. They didn't ask any questions. They just did it, whatever I asked. Same thing with the PD and the ambulance. Whatever I asked, they just got done, no questions asked. And at the end of the day, they all said the same thing. It's because it's our job. That's what we're here for. So that's where the thanks needs to go. I was just giving the orders at the top, but they did all the work. So
Thank you.
Get yourself cheap. Go get some sleep.
I am. Thank you. You good? Got anything?
Get some sleep, Chris.
Get some sleep. You have a long day tomorrow.
Yeah.
That applause is for all of the emergency personnel.
Yes,
Everyone.
absolutely. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the August 6th, 2024 regular meetings? Thank you, Stephen. That could have stayed there.
Seconded.
Motion by Al Bruno, seconded by Pat Lombardi. Discussion.
I just have one thing. I believe the pumpkin festival is listed in here underneath this, first select women's report. Item 22. It says September 15. It is September 22nd. It's usually the next to the last Sunday, if I recall.
Let's check the second calendar. Not that I'm doubting Teresa's.
No, I was on it for years, so
We could just double check.
It's the 22nd.
we can just change that. Thank you.
If I may.
Yes, Mr. Stanley.
Item 12, subparagraph A, pursuant to section 2-268.
Wait, item 12. Item 12 is appointments.
What am I looking at?
Oh, the minutes. I'm sorry. Sorry,
Minutes.
sorry,
The
sorry.
minutes.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
No, you're right.
I think the minutes should reflect what section, what that is a section of. I think it's the ordinances, but it could be the general statutes, but I think it's ordinance, Seymour ordinance. Seymour Town Code. Seymour Town Code, so I would ask that the minutes be amended to reflect Seymour Town Code, section 2-268.
Is that all?
No.
Any other? Oh, Trish?
Someone else have something?
No.
Someone say no?
Under,
Teresa?
I'll yield. I'll come
No, no.
back to me.
No, you had the
No,
floor.
You have the floor.
Item 14, under executive session,
Yes.
third paragraph, motion to go into executive session regarding and invite. Something's left out regarding what? The reason for the executive session should be articulated. I believe that Attorney
executive
Botula
session.
articulated a motion.
The reason for the executive session, there were two bases. One, the matter of pending litigation, which the minutes say. On the second, because a public discussion may materially affect the price of a parcel being considered by the town.
Yes, okay. I think the motion, though, should be more specific regarding and.
I think it was said, it just wasn't picked up.
So I think the recorded record should reflect that.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying. I know it was said,
yeah.
but we're
Yep.
reviewing the minutes.
So that has to be changed. So, and including that, the motion. Two bases for executive session. Correct.
Moving on to item 15 on the next page. The second motion that's in italics, motion to consent to an 8-24 review. It should be referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 8-22 review.
Correct.
Okay.
I hate to be picky, but just
No,
when
that's,
it comes to these important legal matters, I like to be particular.
okay.
Thank you.
Is that it? Trish?
I was gonna bring this up during selectmen's comments. It's not specific to these minutes, but I think we should add to a future meeting on the agenda discussion for us to decide what we wanna see in the minutes.
Okay, so that's not in this minutes right now.
No,
Okay. Anybody else for the minutes currently? Okay, with those three changes being made, do I have a motion to accept the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain.
Abstain.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 6-0-1. Please note Selectman Finley's abstention. Thank you, everyone. Item number 5, pursuant to section 2-268 of the Seymour Town Code, Act of Lieu Special Town Meeting for a bid waiver and purchase authorization for a refurbishing of a truck for DPW. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Dr. Schlesman. In your packets, I'll refer you to the letter that you did receive at the last meeting, dated in June. A letter from Frank Gavinelli, Director of Public Works, dated June 27th. The request, the Public Works Department has secured the funding needed to refurbish one of our trucks. This truck will have multiple uses. It will serve as a plow truck with capabilities to change the rear body from a sander to a dumpster to a chip box. In an effort to maintain consistency within our fleet, I am asking the Board of Select Persons to waive the bid process. The vendor would like us to use Truck Builders of Connecticut and has built our last 2 refurbished trucks with great success and quality. And that was submitted, as I said, respectfully by Frank Gavinelli, Director of Public Works. So the motion, which I'll defer to Attorney Paterla, would be to act in lieu of special town meeting and take action on this request.
I have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Pat Lombardi.
Second.
Second by Al Bruno. Discussion.
Again, I hate to be a pain, but I think the motion should be articulated.
I would perhaps suggest it should say something, motion, let me see where we are. A motion to approve a bid waiver and a purchase authorization for the refurbishing of a truck for DPW pursuant, in lieu of a special town meeting.
Pursuant to section 2.268 in lieu of a town meeting.
In lieu of a special town meeting. No, the motion should be for a bid waiver and a purchase authorization in lieu of a special town meeting.
Okay. Motion by Pat Lombardi.
Yep.
Second by Al Bruno. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Noes? Abstentions? Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Item number 6, discussion and possible action regarding the license agreement between the Town and Health Real Estate Holding LLC for a boat dock at 311 Roosevelt Drive. Attorney Bertula.
So in your packet, folks, you'll see a license agreement that has been prepared. The property owner has been gracious enough to make its property available to the town for the purpose of a dock and a boat launch ramp for a 25-year term at no cost other than an indemnity, which would be relatively standard in a license agreement. So we would recommend moving forward. This is something that can benefit the emergency services, I think, of your town very much. It is a good site.
This is the license agreement
Yes.
between us, the
And-
Town of Seymour, the
and-
Fire Department, the Police Department, and
Health Real Estate Holdings, LLC.
which is where the Villa Bianca formerly was.
Yes, 311 Roosevelt Drive, Seymour, Connecticut. 301 feet of frontage on the Housatonic River.
And that is so we can keep our boat in the river for any necessary rescues.
I believe the fire department's been looking for something like this for quite some time on that side of town.
Correct.
It's been in the works for quite a long time, and it's nice to see it coming to fruition here.
Can I have a motion to accept?
It would be a motion to authorize the first selectwoman to enter into the license agreement.
I'd like to make a motion for the first selectwoman to enter into the license agreement.
Second.
Motion by Al Bruno, second by Bob Finley. Discussion.
I'm just gonna bring up, because I heard something in the audience, that we have one already. Do we have a boat launch for emergency medical responders on the river?
Not on that side.
Okay,
Not there.
all right, thank you.
We do not have one on that side.
At the park on 188-34.
That is a private piece of property. That is not the town's property.
Excuse me.
Okay, that was my question, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Discussion and possible action for a blight lien settlement for 49 Emma Street. In your letter, you see in your package, you'll see a letter from Brian Lima. From Brian Lima to Mike Margansky and Jim Baldwin, myself and the attorney, for a piece of blighted property at 49 Emma Street. Someone has since bought that piece of property. There's all the correspondence in there. And the blight lien is for $9,000.
So if I may provide a little assistance on this, the property was cited for blight by our blight officers, mainly having to do with overgrown vegetation and a failure to cut the grass. That's what it was for a substantial period of time. The property was in foreclosure. The bank acquired title to the foreclosure after some negotiation with the grass cut and the blighted conditions remediated. There were negotiations and they made an offer of $9,000. The blight officers are recommending, Jim Baldwin and the blight officer are recommending acceptance, as are we at this time. So the offer is for $9,000 to compromise the blight lien.
A win-win situation for everybody. May I have a
I'll
motion?
make a motion to accept the sum of $9,000 to satisfy the blight lien at 49 Emma Street.
Motion by Trish, second by
Fred.
Fred Stanek. Discussion.
Can I just have clarification on the blight ordinance, in case it's changed over the years? Is it still that someone has to put in the blight report, or can our blight officer cite someone?
Both.
Both. So that's been a change. Correct.
That has been the ordinance since, oh my gosh, at least 12 years.
Since we.
Yeah, through you, Madam
First got
Chairman.
elected, right?
Yeah, if a resident puts in a blight complaint, it needs to be a public complaint. It can't be anonymous.
Correct.
But the enforcement department always has the ability
Okay.
throughout, if they're doing other things at different properties, to put in and address a blight issue or a zoning issue or a wetlands issue as part of their normal course of business.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So that was before, like 10, 12 years. To answer your original
Yeah.
question. You're welcome. Any other questions, discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Noes? Abstains? Chair votes aye, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Discussion and possible action regarding the purchase of an L-shaped parcel of land from the owner of 57 Bungay Road for expansion of the Bungay Elementary School site, including entering into a contract for the purchase of the land and authorization for including, for the first selectwoman to execute a purchase and sale agreement with the seller, a CGS Section A24 referral is attached. So in your packet, you will see a letter from Planning and Zoning, from Keith, with a approving the A24 referral to the Board of Selectmen. We had asked at our last meeting, the Planning and Zoning met on Thursday, the referral was on the property, and this is the letter of approval.
So if I may again, Madam First Selectwoman, it is a little premature to ask this board to act on the purchase and sale agreement. We in fact received it from the seller today from Attorney Manelli, and we're in the process of reviewing it. But the main delay right now is we are waiting for a parcel description and a survey from the town engineer, Mr. Nesteriak. And
So do you wish to table this?
I do.
Can I have a motion to table this to our first meeting in September, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Pat Lombardi, second by Bob Finley. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Noes? Abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Okay, discussion and possible action regarding town-owned properties. Attorney Bertula.
Again, on the three that we mentioned last time, and no one from the administration has made me aware of any others at this point, we are waiting for title searches to come in with respect to each one of the properties. You heard a speaker during the public session talking about 132 Washington Avenue and the possible sale and or abandonment of a paper street with easements. That's exactly why we ordered a title search, for reasons such as that, so we can figure out exactly what rights we have, if any, and what it is we would be selling or abandoning. So with that, no action is required tonight.
Okay, thank you. Item number 10, discussion and possible action regarding proposal to rename the parks located on the corner of Broad Street and River Street, sometimes known as Broad Street Park. I believe in our last meeting, we asked to table this until October, because we wanted to give the students a chance to.
Yes.
Right.
And I investigated creating a contest with the
Okay.
school district. Stephanie Chacon, former high school teacher of English for many, many years, who has recently been appointed assistant principal at Sheffield School, is interested. I spoke with her in coordinating a contest, which I envision would involve an essay to be written by students who want to participate, and then the students articulating and defending the name and the essay. And then we could, perhaps our awards committee could review the essays and work on the process, and we could award a gift certificate or some type of an award to the winner.
Okay, I like how the award committee is involved in this, but I think I would like it to come also in front of the Board of Select Persons, and maybe the Board of Select Persons pass it on to the awards committee.
Well, that can be done, but I'm just saying, I talked to Stephanie Chacon. She spoke to David Elecna, her principal. He's in favor of it. He spoke with Dr. Compton. Everybody seems to be on board for a contest.
I'm glad they
yes,
got traction, Fred.
It'll be presented here, and I think our awards committee can be the ultimate to make a decision to recommend to the Board of Select Persons.
Great. I agree with that. All right, so we will table this until October.
First or second meeting? Do you have a preference?
First meeting, go ahead, Pat.
So, that's fine, and I understand what the awards committee's trying to do and everything, and that's wonderful. My concern is, how about some input from the public?
We will have to have a public hearing.
Okay, in the meantime, how about flyers in the town clerk's office or the library, letting the townspeople know that this is gonna take place, and we are soliciting, their valued input.
So not just opening it up to the students, but opening it up to the residents of the town as well.
That's where
I think we originally talked
That's where
about
I'm
that,
going.
and I chimed in about possibly having kids do something, and I think we should do both.
I agree.
I mean, the ultimate decision
Public
lies
should
with
have-
this board.
Right.
And
Ab-
the
absolutely.
ultimate decision lies with this board. So even if
Understand.
there's a winner of the contest by the students, the board can reject that winner's suggestion. But we have to have a public hearing based upon the way the ordinance is written. And I think we can work with the board
What's in the
committee
ordinance?
as a prerequisite to a full meeting.
I agree with that. Okay, so we'll table this into the first meeting in October. Thank you. Okay. Motion to go into an executive session to review pending litigation.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
Motion by Trish Danka,
Second.
second by Al Bruno. Discussion. Oh, inviting,
Amend my motion to include inviting attorney Richard Viturla, Chief Administrative Officer Kurt Miller into executive session.
yes. Motion by Trish, second by
Second.
Al Bruno. Discussion.
If I may, I
Absolutely.
think the motion needs to be a little bit more specific as to the matter. Just pending litigation is not sufficient to go into executive
Go
session.
ahead, Attorney Viturla.
Attorney Stanek is correct. We always give the case name.
Yep.
And in this case, I'll give you two. One is Cochiola Paving versus the Town of Seymour, and the other is Jim Baldwin, Building Inspector, Town of Seymour versus Goodyear Property Management et al.
I will amend, Goodwin Property what?
Goodyear
Goodyear.
Property Management et al. Jim Baldwin versus
Will
Goodyear.
amend my motion again to include litigation involving Coachella Paving versus the Town of Seymour, as well as Jim Baldwin versus Goodyear Projects Management et al.
Property.
Properties.
Motion by Trish,
Second.
second by Teresa. Discussion.
Yes, moving forward, could we have those items listed on the agenda as per requirements of FOI? Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 7. executive session at.
And wait a minute.
Oh,
Hold up.
There he is.
are you ready? Okay, coming out of executive session at 7. Thank you, Teresa. Coming out of executive session at 7:43 PM.
Are you waiting for me?
Aye.
And for the record, there were no votes or actions taken during the executive session.
There you go.
At least we laugh. We all laugh.
We know,
We all laugh.
we know who
Okay.
makes that. We know who
Thank
says
you.
it.
Thank you.
We're well trained.
Okay, we have appointments. There are no appointments on our list. Transfers, we have no transfers. Tax refunds and abatements in your package. There is a list from Christina Swanson, the Assistant Tax Collector, for tax refunds.
I make a motion to accept as presented.
Motion by Trish,
Second.
second by Bob. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Correspondences. In your packet, you'll see a letter from Tony Caserta to Joe Pinto, attached to a pothole claim filed with the town clerk. We forwarded it to Kerma. The board does not see this, for tires and potholes unless it is rejected by the insurance company, then it will come in front of our board to vote on.
And we were not aware of the pothole at the time,
Correct.
Okay.
Well, okay. You know my answer. It was not on the pothole list. Okay. Public comment. Is there any public comment?
Hello, everybody. My name is Nicole Claire DeStitria. I live at 23 Osprey Drive here in Seymour. I'm also your state representative for the 105th District. I just wanted to come and give my thanks to the town of Seymour for our flood disaster that happened a few days ago. I'm sure you spoke about it. I wanted to thank our fire department, our police department, EMS, emergency services, everybody that came together to make this less painful and just a horrific experience for so many people in our town and our businesses. I want to thank our first select woman. Without her, none of this, and I stress none of this would have been possible. She is leading this town like a true leader should. She mobilized, got our emergency management center open, got everybody together. We don't want to say it ran seamlessly, but it ran. And she attacked every problem like a leader should. My family's plaza has been devastated by these floods, but we will rebuild. We're working with the Connecticut state government, and we had Senator Blumenthal come down. So the federal declaration should happen within the next day or two, and then people will be able to access some FEMA funds and some funding to rebuild their businesses. But I just wanted to let everybody know that I appreciate everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Any other public comment? No public comment. We will start with select persons' public comment, and we will start with Pat Lombardi this time.
Thank you, Madam First Selectwoman.
You're welcome.
Obviously, what has taken place in the last couple of days has really taken its toll on all of us. Me personally, I happen to live on the river. The lower portion of Derby Avenue where I live was completely flooded. The water at one point, and I've lived there for 38 years out of the 47 that I've lived in the community. That water rose to a level where it was even with my property line. So obviously I was a little bit concerned, but my frustrations in dealing with cleaning up water from our basement were probably negligible to what other folks had to go through. And I'm very, very sorry for the loss of life in Oxford. And to all those families in both our communities and surrounding communities that lost property and our homes. We all need to rebuild, we all need to work together, and we need to be strong. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to, of course, big shout out to all the emergency services that we had in Seymour. The one that I wanted to make sure I made a shout out to, because I was able to get over to the shelter and watch the CERT team in action to establish the shelter there. We had numerous families that came in and out of there at a certain period of time once they started evacuating behind Claridis' village when the gas leak occurred, and they were actually moving people there. They stayed there for a few hours. No one stayed overnight, but the speed at which they had the SMS ready for people to be there, also for animals, which was nice. They not only just handled the people that were coming in, was it Woodbury? Woodbridge? Yeah, Woodbridge Original came with their crates of cages and animal and food and stuff like that, things that we need for animals just in case. So we had a certain area segmented off there. So I do want to thank all the CERT staff team that was at the middle school that stayed there until 1 or 2 in the morning to get that established. So
Thank you. Select woman.
I just want to thank Emergency Management Services again. I can attest, I'm sure everyone knows how busy they were, but living on Pearl Street, they were up and down the street frequently. And I have to say, it took everything in me to not get in my car and drive to the shelter myself, because I was on standby, as was Teresa, getting ready to be picked up. And I totally understood how busy everybody was. And it would not be good for me to get in my car, but I was very concerned. I fared perfectly fine, but I have neighbors up the street that ended up with 7 feet of water. So my heart goes out to everybody who was in need of assistance, and in all the years I've lived here, which isn't as long as many, Teresa, but I've never seen it. I've never personally saw it this bad, so thank you to Emergency Services.
Yeah, I mean, echo everybody's comments. It was a difficult evening, but I just wanted to compliment everybody for the great communication and everybody working together and following chain of command. Everybody did what they were asked to do. And, you know, like Trish said, we all wanted to jump in our cars and do that, but obviously that would not have been safe. So I was really impressed with the fact that people, just followed directions. That doesn't happen sometimes. So I was really happy and impressed with that, because in an emergency, you want to let the leaders lead and let people help and do their jobs. And like we heard Chris say, that happened to a large extent. And so all our leaders in town deserve a nice pat on the back for that. People followed and did their jobs. And it's not something we should take for granted, because I've seen it go backwards in a lot of different situations like this. So personally, so I'm really happy with that. And unfortunately, there was loss of life in Oxford, and that's horrible. And it's a 1 in 1,000-year storm with over 16 inches of water. It's just insanity and biblical in scope. So it was stunning, but we did a really nice job, and Anne Marie communicated well with us as a board, and I was happy to be the point on the text and let everybody know, and everybody did a great job. And Bob, thank you for the closest person to the middle school and going that night. Greatly appreciated, and just an example of just following through and helping and pitching in. And Seymour has always been a community that I've found since I've lived here the past 20 years that pitches in and helps each other. And it seems like the Valley does that really well, just over the years growing up here. And impressive under very difficult circumstances. So that's it. Thank you.
Personally wanted to thank you for the text that you sent me concerning my family and our conditions down there. So thank you. I appreciate that, Al.
Of course, man. Yeah. And Bob volunteered to shop back, and I have one too. So if you need them, we'll bring them over.
No, I sent a boat. It's going to be delivered to Swan Avenue
I
tomorrow.
think there's one on 67 for you.
I would like to reiterate what everyone else said, you know, the emergency personnel here in Seymour did an outstanding job. My heart goes out to the property owners here in Seymour and people who were affected and had to be rescued. I had my own episode on Sunday. I was stranded in Oxford, and I was talking with the emergency personnel in Oxford. It's wonderful how Oxford and Seymour cooperate with each other and extend mutual aid to each other. And my heart goes out to the fire people in Oxford. Two firemen were in jeopardy of losing their lives and were saved in a water rescue. And it shows, that unfortunately illustrates how important our emergency personnel are and how they put their lives on the line. This is an unfortunate fact. History sort of repeated itself in 1955, and it goes to show that we can never be too prepared. Thank you, emergency personnel, once again.
Thank you. Teresa?
And I guess I'm just going to reiterate what everyone else said here. You know, on Saturday, the fire department citizens put on a wonderful dinner.
Absolutely.
And I know that those guys were left behind to clean up when all of us left. And I'm sure it was a long night for them. And then the next day to be faced with what they had to deal with. You know, it's unfortunate. These are the times that you train for, that you hope you'll never have to be put into action. And we could see with the training that they've had over the years, they were ready to just step right up and do what they needed to do. I can't say enough for them. I looked at Chris tonight. I know he must be exhausted, and it's still not over. I did have a couple questions. I'm hoping we can get some clarification down the road of how we can help these businesses. I mean, I know you might be talking about that, but you know, the FEMA and any state monies, or how that works if they don't have flood insurance. I know most people don't think of a little river ever becoming a force of nature like it did, moving, you know, cinder blocks and things. But I would like to see, you know, what we can do to support all these businesses. We've really lost a lot of businesses in our town in a short time. And maybe we can have our economic development consultant come at our next meeting too and see what we might be able to be doing.
Yes. So I will be touching on those. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Comments from the first selectwoman, Debbie. Okay. Mine's going to be a little bit longer, and I'm going to apologize for that ahead of time. I want to start off with, on Thursday, we had two structure fires. You know, getting back to our fire department, we had one on Lynn Terrace. The house was a total disaster, total loss. That one came in around maybe 6 o'clock, and my times will be off, so don't quote me exact times. And then as soon as our fire department got home, no sooner did they get home after debriefing about what went on, there was another call for a structure fire in Argyle Circle. Sorry, Argyle Circle. That started in the basement, and unfortunately, they lost one of their pets. So Lynn Turris, the gentleman that lived in the house, was taken to the hospital. He had burns. He was fine before he left, and then he was intubated an hour afterwards. Spoke to a resident. They're going to be performing surgery sometime this week. Argyle Circle, the family, it's a family. The kid, one of the boys is a freshman on the football team. One of the daughter is a cheerleader. No, she's a senior at the high school. And there's another child in there, but they lost one of their pets as well. The bearded dragon survived. You know, and then like you said, Saturday, kind of resting. We had the lobster steak dinner, which was absolutely wonderful. Fire department did a wonderful job. And then with Sunday, we're only supposed to get like 2 inches of rain. Then it was going to be done, moved out by 3 o'clock. Graduation party, I started getting text messages from Chris, started receiving some information. Alana was at the party with me in Hamden. I made her stay, and thank goodness I did, because as I was driving home, roads were flooded. I got back, Chris told me what was going on. We said that we're going to open the EOC. We opened the EOC, met. The EOC is the Emergency Operating Center, which is located at the Seymour PD on top. Started assessing the areas. flooding was going beyond. They had cones out, they had tape out, and people were just moving cones. They were moving tape, the caution tape, which was, I couldn't understand it. But to see Chris and to see the fire department and the police department and the ambulance and our CERT team all come together. You know, it's not me that did this. This is definitely our emergency management director, the fire department, the chiefs, everybody working together, everybody doing what it was needed, and that was for our community, helping out Oxford, because they were helping out Oxford during the day, helping out Oxford at the end. Seymour is blessed because we were not as devastated as Oxford is. There are people who are stuck between roads that have nowhere to go. And when we think about flooding in Seymour, we think about the rivers, right? Who would have ever thought that Little River would have turned into the raging river? And then when we hear that there was a gas leak, we went to Claritas Plaza, and to hear the hissing sound. And our fire department, each of them, went door to door to get the neighbors out. So I just have to thank them, but you know, I really want to thank our board of selectmen as well. I called Al up. He was getting ready to go out to dinner with his over to his parents' house. He and Kristen stayed home. He was communicating to everybody. I want to thank.
It's a good thing we did.
Yeah.
We
You
would have
would've been
turned around
stuck.
anyway.
Yeah. You know, Teresa, Trish, I know, and Finley, I know you guys all volunteered to go. And I appreciate that for being on the standby. You know, we thought we would be able to have a public works truck come and get you, but public works' main deal is to help in the town to get them out, so we weren't able to go, but I appreciate everybody's help on getting there. I think, like Chris said, we finally left the scene at 2:00 Monday morning, only to go back for 6 the next day to have our meeting, and then to find out that the dam over between Allen's Plumbing was getting ready to go. In dealing with that, tomorrow morning we are going up in a helicopter to assess the total damage for the town of Seymour. Yesterday morning, I received a phone call from Congresswoman DeLaura telling us anything she needed. She couldn't believe that we didn't have a state evacuation, was not declared yet. Between speaking to her and Senator Blumenthal, they made sure that the state was called, the federal agency was informed, so they're working on FEMA. You know, I spoke to Lieutenant Governor Bysowitz, and Governor Lamont called me last night, and Senator Murphy as well called me. So it was great that everybody is working together for our town. You know, Seymour, Oxford, Southbury, Danbury, Wilton. That was all affected. And to see the devastation behind the plaza, just walking there, knowing what it's like, seeing the devastation walking into the diners, walking behind Bushiban, my heart sank. Because these are businesses, these are family-owned businesses, families that live in town, businesses that are here. We have already started the paperwork for the state funding. The state of emergency was already declared. Chris has gone, our fire chief Edwards has gone to all the departments, to the businesses, and handed the paperwork out. We're going to the houses to get them, because there are houses that have been affected by this. FEMA is funny. If you have flood insurance, they don't help you. They only help you if you don't have flood insurance. What I found out today is, of course, you know, the plaza has flood insurance. The businesses have their business insurance, and they have business interruption insurance, but that doesn't cover flood insurance. And the they don't have flood insurance, so FEMA has to come in and help them with that. But I was there when one of the businesses were on the phone with their insurance company. They're like, well, yeah, he says it's a loss of business. He says, yeah, but we're not covered by flood. I'm like, how is that so? How is that? You pay all this money for insurance and it's not covered, which is, I can't understand it. But FEMA is going to help with that. FEMA is going to help the businesses. We're going to get, we're going to file on the information. We're going to sit down. We're going to get that going. With the state ed, like I said, tomorrow we have the helicopter ride over Seymour. Oxford is going to do theirs as well. But the residents who have reached out to help, what can we do? Clothing, food, for the owners of the businesses is it's unimaginable how many phone calls, how many texts, how many inboxes, how many emails we received. And it's like I told the reporters that I spoke to, I said, it's not me, it's the team that we have here. It's the residents that make Seymour what Seymour is. Seymour is a tiny town, 17,600 people, give or take. Small town with a big heart, bigger than the United States. When we're in trouble, we're all in trouble. And when we're good, we're all good. So I have to praise our fire departments, our emergency services, and our residents for giving all the help. And, you know, being at the plaza and seeing everything go, it's just moving to see what water can do. We thought all this would have been 34. The biggest, when I was coming home, I came home 34 because I couldn't get home any other way. And I'm seeing the water rise. I'm like, yeah, that's where our issues are going to be. Not even thinking of Little River. Not even thinking. Allen's Plumbing, they had propane tanks floating down, going into the river, and I think they ended up in Stratford. We have the DEP is stationed at Tri-Town Plaza, because they can't get to any of there's no way they can get to Southbury or any of their other places. They have to go. Right now they were digging out propane tanks for the next pond. So, it's very moving. Very moving. It's been a very long week, and it's only Tuesday. We're supposed to do our buddy benches on Wednesday. We're supposed to install our buddy benches on Friday. We're not doing that because Public Works has been kind of busy. So we're going to move that 1 week to next Friday. We'll install our buddy benches. We wanted to get them in before school started, but that's not going to happen. Public Works has a lot of work to do around the town. I think that's all I have. So with that, we'll adjourn.
So moved.
What? Oh my God, yes, sorry. Teresa had asked for an org chart. I'm not adjourning. Teresa had asked for an org chart a while ago. So this is just municipal operations.
Okay.
Because that's all we care about is the municipal operation, not board. So take one down and pass it. I apologize for that. Thanks, Kurt. So as you say, this is the municipal operation, the residents of the town of Seymour, I report directly to them, and then it goes, the assistant to the first select woman reports to me, and our chief administration officer. It's broken down into two. Chief administration officer has your register of voters going to them, land use and compliance, community service, information technology, and operation. The finance director has a town clerk, a tax assessor, a tax collector, and the finance department directly reports to him. Town council, emergency services, chief administrative officer, finance director, human resource, and the EDC reports directly to me. Thank you.
Thanks.
With that, I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.